What's up, great and glorious human beings? We've got episode 6 here of By the Run Book with our friends at Renada, Connor, and Robbie, maybe in stealth mode, and Mendy. Again, we've caught up to stable, so we're looking at version 2.196 today. You guys have questions, comments, feedback, things you want to talk about that maybe aren't even in the release notes. You just let us know. Drop a little comment down in the segment down at the bottom or whatever screen you're looking at, and we'll answer it as soon as we can. So without further ado, your fabulous hosts, Mendy Green and Connor Fagan. Hello, guys.
Hey, everyone.
Good day.
Okay.
Can't believe you're late, Mendy. Making us 4 minutes late.
I know. I was really late. I decided like literally minutes before. I'm like, I'm gonna reboot my computer now because it's been acting up. And then
He messaged me, and my heart just went. Okay.
I need to start booking out my diary before this because I was like 3 o'clock back-to-back meeting with the client, and I was deep in reports, and I'm like, oh my god, I got through this really quickly. And then here we are. Whew, we made it. Hi everyone. Good day.
Hello. All right. Well, again, everyone, drop your questions, comments, like and subscribe. I'll see you guys on the flip.
so
Right. We're going to look prepared this week because Bobby spent all that time last week doing all the notes for this week for us. So we have notes to go to in the chat, Mendy.
Do you have notes? We do have notes?
Yeah, Bobby did like the whole thing for us.
Yeah, wow, look at that.
Easy street. Yeah. And obviously we've read them all, so we don't have to think about it. I'm not sure which way to take it. I don't know where to do it. 196 is exciting now because it's where we're at, right? It's like the most current stuff that people have access to.
It's current stable. At this point in time, like probably almost everyone should be on stable. I think they've probably finished.
Everyone is now,
cycle, right? Yeah. So everything that we've talked about, all the new features we've talked about, last like 4 or 5 versions are now you get to actually play with now. Plus everything new in this version as well.
Yeah. So and then next time we meet, we'll be in the future.
Next time we will be no, because I'm actually already in the future. I'm on the current beta.
You like playing with fire though.
Well, the rumor has it that current beta will be the release candidate actually.
Current what 206?
206 is not officially. Let me rephrase that. Not officially supposed to be the current release candidate that will be made release candidate once it's finished. It's beta.
And when's next stable? When is it?
I don't know which queues they like. I don't go by quarter, but it usually takes about 2-3 weeks after release candidate to go to stable.
Yeah, they try and do it each quarter is what they try and do. I used to be really good at knowing roughly when they're doing it. But yeah, it's one of those things.
You can count through it's basically every 10 versions or so.
That's why I think it's curious because this one between current and beta, there's not many things in there.
I mean, we're not like jumping through these, right? Because we're not up to that yet. So
yeah, but I mean, there's a smaller gap this time in the releases. Normally, there's like I think what we've just done is like 15 or 12 versions to get to stable from last stable. The next stable is quite close.
You're gonna make me go back.
What was before 196? What was we on before 196?
Was stable. So
was it?
It's literally it's about 10 versions. Like I said,
84, 1, 2,
usually about 10.
Yeah. Then maybe 206 is quite a way away from being stable, based on that logic.
Right. Except that, from the grapevine, I've heard it will be like I've heard the release candidate's coming out in the next couple of weeks. I heard that like a week ago.
Sweet. Good.
So,
well, I think less things better for me. Rather than once a quarter, bang, there's 10 things. Well, we don't keep up, right? That's what these are for. Help us all keep up and stay where we're at. So let's get stuck in today, shall we? Let's start with 957605. A setting has been added to the advanced settings configuration so that a default font can be chosen for the editor on tickets and actions.
I can see the appeal for that, but I don't know if I would actually ever care. Like I know some people do care about that kind of thing, but I'm
going to be honest with you. I'm quite sad we haven't done that. But I'd imagine
under advanced settings, there'll be like a
setting default font,
default editor font. Look at that.
There's going to be a static list, though, isn't there? Yeah, you see, that's why we've not done it.
List.
Because you can't add your own font.
Or your name or Georgia looks nice. Or you can be, like, really mean to everyone and use Calibri, right?
I don't hate it. If you could add Google fonts there, it would be 10 times better in my opinion. But here we are. It's a setting if you want to change the font because you hate what I don't even know what default is. To be honest, in Halo, I don't know. If you didn't like default,
I'm not sure.
Okay. Added a security check for integrations that are configured to allow unauthenticated webhooks. Version 956.772. And I think that is probably all.
It's literally just the banner. That's just the banner on top, right? Why was that the?
I'm assuming it would just be in the security settings area.
It's literally just the check that we talked about earlier. So under configuration,
it's worth mentioning again, that if you don't have this set, I really recommend at the top adding this banner. Now I kind of sit on the critical side of things, so I'm like only alert if critical. The issue you can get with this, which Renada has, which we should probably fix, we sometimes make integrations a little bit too loose with all, so then we end up with warnings. But if you can really get this dialed in, it is definitely something to go ahead and look at once again. So yeah. Adding this banner here is a positive thing. Sorry, Robbie's typing in the chat and I've got to scroll down and it's confusing me.
So the button has been added to the customer screen to allow time entries to be recalculated.
Don't use it yet, I don't think.
Yeah, I don't think it's broken. I think it's broken, right?
Yeah.
We can show you where that is though. So that's
don't click it.
Apparently they have an article. Has this been updated?
They fix it.
Look at that.
Yeah, they fixed the art.
No, this article doesn't help you. No. What is this?
Resolved.
Literally not helpful. Here. No, that's action level.
Oh, no, they did. They patched it.
Here it is.
Good. 2196.81 resolved an issue with customer level option for recalculate billing, causing recalculated for other customer records. Yeah, I logged that the day it came out and ran it. That was
literally
super fun. But it's
on the client. You have this button here, recalculate billing, and now you should be able to recalculate all time entries within that time period.
Yeah,
up until a 3-month period. You can't do more than 3 months at a time, just for performance purposes.
I would say probably similar to you, Mendy, as well. We have clients running this sometimes, and I always kind of ask the question, like, why are we running this, right? I think some people get into the habit of recalculating, in my opinion, a little bit too much. I would really be asking the question of why you should be needing to do this. And the thing for me is we only really advise clients to be recalculating billing if they're fundamentally changing their billing template or they've really fundamentally changed something. But I would argue you want to target a subset of tickets rather than blanket recalculating all tickets for the client. I know why they've added it. I don't. For me, it's more harm than good in some cases, although theoretically it shouldn't change anything that was already working.
So the thing is like this, right? Speaking about the more harm than good, there is two places where the time entry gets locked from recalculating. So even if you recalculate the time entry, it will not do anything. One is if it's been billed, right? If it's on an invoice, that means that time entry is locked and it cannot be recalculated at that point. And the other is if you check the box to lock it, right? So on the time entry itself, looking back at this article that we were showing earlier, there's an option to lock time somewhere here. Lock time entry and do not recalculate, right? So they've also, by the way, I know this isn't for this feature, but for this version, but in the beta version, they've adjusted this so that if you manually change any of the billing hours versus contract hours, it'll automatically check that box. So this section down here, if you change any of these fields, it will automatically check that box. There's a bug with it, whatever. Let's not get into that right now. We'll talk about that later. But the point is that if this is set and or if the time's been billed, the recalculation won't do anything. So theoretically speaking, it really shouldn't break anything as long as you haven't changed your so there are certain things that we tell people during setup to never ever do. So like number one is don't change your charge rate. Your rate itself should never change on the existing rate once you go live. you can add additional rates and overrides, but do not change the existing rate from the beginning of time, because it will go back in time and change all of your time entries, right? So the recalculation will break if you do something like that, where you're not thinking about the past, and it will go back in time and do that. So, for example, a contract being deleted, and it wasn't meant to be deleted, it was meant to be expired. If you recalculate all your time, any time that was against that contract previously will now be billable at that point. Things like that. So yes, like ideally you shouldn't have to be doing it. We see people doing it most often when we take them on as a new client, when their billing wasn't set up correctly, right? Yep. And even in that regard, like I still don't do something globally on the client level. We usually find like a contract, and inside of any contract, we can go to periodic history. So I have a script that will pull tickets that were basically placed under the contract, like any ticket under the contract, and we can recalculate a focused group of those tickets from that contract. We have the same thing on the invoicing screen. We can go to labor down here, and we can recalculate all actions that are on this screen. So we use the API to query all these actions, and then we just one by one iterate through recalculating them. And I do the same thing with a waiting review as well. We can pull all actions from a waiting review and recalculate them. We have this PowerShell script that allows us to do any one of these functionalities.
Can you just show the dev tool so everyone watching, if they want to know this? Because we do the same thing here. Like we often get clients who haven't set up billing before, and there's like tons of stuff we need to try and do. And we're in the same right. We don't want to be just hitting and attacking every single ticket for that client ever. So what you can do is obviously if you're familiar with Halo, are you struggling because you're sharing a window, not a...
Yeah, I can't show dev tools without...
Well, in essence, I'll explain. So if you go to any of these areas and you just open DevTools, right, Network tab, if you click on no charge or no contract prepay, and you look at the API call it is doing, you can target that yourself to recalculate, or if you have a recalculate script, you can target the same endpoint to just isolate the tickets here. One of my frustrations, I'll be honest with you, is that you can't easily get the same data that is displayed in here via SQL. I really wish that this data was stored in a table somewhere in Halo. I understand why it's not, but for me, to get a report to show stuff in the waiting review columns or ready for invoicing is very challenging. Ready for invoicing is technically easier, but a waiting review can be a challenge. But doing it via API is definitely the way to go. So yeah, we do the same thing with that one. It's definitely the best method.
I feel like we need to talk more about that SQL challenge you have after offline. Not for this.
Yes. Yes. Okay. I will happily show you and bore you to sleep with it. But yeah, there's certain things that's just easy via the API, right? And we always do the same thing by recalculating from exactly there.
Yeah. But if you don't have access to the PowerShell scripts or the API, you can do it on a customer level as long as you're pretty confident, again, that you haven't changed anything significant that will impact you negatively from the past, right? It should only be affecting new or current time entries, nothing in the historical records. A billing plan. Speaking of having like a good target of what should be changed, a billing plan combination can now be given a start and end date, and time logged outside of these values will not match the combination. Right. So instead of changing your billing plan combinations, you can actually set a start and end date. It's really difficult with the way Robbie's done this because I want to show them on screen. Here it is down here. Right, this is the release note.
Oh yeah, he's linked his app, hasn't he? Yeah,
he's linked his app. Yeah, which is great because it's the only way to actually get to that like direct note. But I'm just looking for the ticket number on the screen.
It's just advertising, baby. You know.
I know exactly.
There it is.
So with this, yeah, go ahead.
Yeah, I was just going to say, this has been long overdue, I think.
Yes, I agree. Let's see, billing templates. So let's just go to any one of these, for example, and I think it's going to be on. It's going to be on a plan, right? So it's going to be here.
Yeah, yeah.
Where's the date? Start. No, that's not it.
Why do I have a feeling this is going to be done at the client level?
Billing plan combinations can be given a start and end date and time logged outside of these client level.
That's
probably a bug that nobody's caught yet.
I've not built any templates in a while, I'll be honest.
I never go to the client directly.
No. I'm not seeing. Oh no, start date, time of entry.
Yeah.
Yeah.
No, it's this on the screen.
Yeah, it is. You're right. Yeah, the very top, start date, end date.
So
yeah,
it is client level. It's not on the template level. That's really dumb. All right, we need to notify Halo. That's going to be a
Robbie. There we go. That'll be done. We'll let them know. Easy fix. Yeah, I've not done a building template in a while. Yeah.
Well, yeah, I do. I always do from templates. I never do from the client level. So,
so the way to think about this is, and there's complex scenarios where you'd really need this, though, right? But like, let's say you've got a client you're taking on. They're like, oh, they have they have on-site support for the first 12 months, right? What you can do is either make the contract expire after 12 months, or you could make the billing plan template route the time for on-site differently, basically. Or in this case, end it, don't match the rule. If you imagine or remember billing templates when it's not fully up to date, it's a cascading list, really a waterfall list of permissions, and it goes through sequentially each one. The idea being is if there's an end date and the date is that day or past, it will skip it. What I'm trying to think, actually, the more I talk aloud, what I would use it for.
If you make changes, if you're making changes to your billing structure significantly, then you want to stop. You want to fire your existing rules. So again, like historically, you're not affecting anything, and moving forward, you'll use the new rules.
Yeah.
That's going to be. Well, it was my first thought about it. You know, contract types change, or things happen, or something like that. Yeah, there's really not much else to it. It's just a start end date filter on that rule.
Yep. Added a mailbox as ticket list criteria. I was chatting to Robbie about this.
Did you skip something?
Hey? Oh, I might have skipped loads of shit. I don't know.
The setting has been added to configuration recurring invoices list settings so that recurring invoices can be hidden by default. So if you're looking at your recurring invoices screen, let's go back here. If you're looking at recurring invoices over here, you could potentially be seeing all of your invoices, even ones that are no longer active, right? Now we can actually hide inactive recurring invoices by going to configuration and then going to wherever that setting was.
Configuration recurring invoices list setting. Yeah. So they added in, I think it was last stable, the ability to hide inactive. And I messaged Tim, was like, but by default, why would you want to show inactive? I was like, can you add a setting in? And probably other people did, not just me, but can we add a checkbox for this so we can actually control it? In my opinion, I just think by default it should show inactive, but here we are, another setting. Let's not get into the debates of that right now, Mendy. But yes, there's now another setting to control something that I personally believe should just be hidden by default. But it means for long last, we can hide inactive.
Yeah, if I turn this off and say this schedule is no longer active, for example.
Yep.
Then this recurring invoice BP001 for Frust and something, cakes and bakes, should be gone.
What a time to be alive.
But it's actually still here. Let's refresh the screen. It's still here. Did I change the configuration?
Oh, I think...
Do you have to log out and log in for this one?
I don't know.
Recurring invoices.
Probably log in and out.
It's not. It's marked inactive. I probably have to log out, log in again.
I'll just apply
or just toggle the thing.
Yeah, let's do it. Yeah. Be log in, log out. Fair.
Well, it'll probably be like it's just inactive equals false. Honestly, that's going to be what it is. If I take that away, it'll be. Well, it's still showing. That's so dumb. Yeah, it's probably log out, log in. Yeah, that's funny. Anyways, that's what that setting does. Moving on.
I think it should be enabled by default for everybody, by the way. So if you, that was 953223. Not that you can search them in here, but what we'll do, we should probably link this list that we go through at some point somewhere. That would be like to help.
I mean, we have the blog post we put out, so we can call this out as a company.
In there. There you go. What's the next one then? Yeah, I was chatting with Robbie about this today, actually. This is we actually used this today for someone. Actually, it was ourselves. Actually, we did this for ourselves. It's really curious, and I went a little bit deep with it. I was like, I've always explained to Halo that you can't route tickets from a mailbox, and what I mean by that is tickets come into Halo and we filter in or filter out in an area if we see the tickets or not. Whereas with this, it slightly changes the mindset, because now you can say this area only shows me things from this mailbox. So by kind of backwards logic, we can route from a mailbox to an area now. made my head fall off a little bit when I was thinking about it. I went way too deep with a very simple checkbox. But what it means is if you have list views in an area, you can very easily now add a filter over here of mailbox. And you can basically say, show me anything from the support mailbox. If you had mailboxes, show me anything from the support mailbox in the support area, which previously you couldn't. You could do, but it took a bit more brain power to understand, well, what is support, right? Because anything could come into support. So yeah, we've used it today for what did we use it for? What did we use it for? I can't remember what we used it for. Routing.
Yeah, so like normally you're saying like we could have the alerts go to an alert ticket type and then filter off ticket type or something like that.
Yeah.
Now you're saying we don't need to do that. We can just say on the area or anywhere anywhere that you have a filter. Really, we have the ability to now build a filter around the mailbox itself.
The whole mailbox, yeah.
Without worrying about which ticket type it's going to.
It will still default to incident, I think, but yeah, it was just the way I was thinking about.
I mean, it'll go to the ticket type, right? But it's just, and it's more than just area. It's like lists, ticket rules, probably too, right? You can do ticket rules by mailbox now, likely. So if I go to tickets, ticket rules, where the heck are you? Rules. We can go to create a new rule. We can do a condition, criteria based off mailbox, maybe if we're lucky. Yep, there it is. Right. So you can do ticket rules by mailbox. Maybe probably notification or events by mailbox too, potentially.
Here's what it is. We've got Elegant Insights now, and that sends us in support tickets and alerts, but they make alert tickets and they make incident tickets, right? That's used across Renada. We need it in a separate area to easily just show Elegant Insights tickets. So we used the mailbox filter and we were like, oh, this is great. This solves a massive problem. We were like, how do we route it differently or whatever? It's like, no, click the mailbox, job done. So
never really have another way of identifying it as Elegant Insights. You don't have like a different multi-tenant org. You don't have clients that are under. It's not an Elegant Insight client, right? Like it's a separate org, technically speaking.
There is things we could always do before, right? There's always we could have got clever with it, but this was just so much easier.
Now you don't have to.
Yeah, because support tickets go to unknown. Unknown is shared across all clients. We could have overridden that, and we was like, wait, we don't have to pick the mailbox. So yeah. Solved a literal problem we had today much quicker than us trying to find some creative solution as normal. Cool. I think I've skipped loads. What have we got next? Mailbox, that's done. So yeah, mailbox filter is pretty good. I really like it. I don't even care about that one. Do we care about one? Do we care about improvements to on-premise integrations that use the Halo integrator?
So
anything about
depends on what those improvements are. Hold on.
Yeah, 937027, sir.
Yeah. So there is. So if you're hosted on-prem, you can use HaloDB Integrator. But I don't think the DB Integrator is available if you're remote. Like if you're hosted versus the others, the Halo Integrator you can use. Like you can host your own Halo Integrator even if your Halo is hosted by Halo. Wow, that's a complicated sentence. Even if you're not self-hosting your instance, you can still use the Halo Integrator to run locally on your own, so you have control over the schedule and when the integrations run. But I'm fairly certain the HaloDB Integrator requires local access to the database. And so that will only be available if you are self-hosted. And self-hosting.
I'm inclined to agree with you, just based on the naming of it and how I think it runs. I think when you set it up, you've got to give it SQL permission. So yeah, I'd be, yes, inclined to agree with you.
And then you can use, another option that happens. So we actually do have clients that do SQL imports because they have like an on-prem accounting package that's run off a database. And so Halo talks directly to the database on-prem instead of using like an actual API integration, right? So their Halo hosted instance is hosted by Halo, but they run a local Halo integrator. It connects to the database for SQL imports. And one of the things that happens here is that you're able to now use Azure Key Vault, instead of the Halo password stored inside of Halo, which is kind of cool. But I don't know how many people use that. Like I think we have one client that does it, but it's still cool that like when you're building in integration connections to outside systems, like they're starting to expose, at least if not have it more exposed beyond just SQL imports, to be able to tie into like an Azure Key Vault. and retrieve the password, so in a more secure way.
And gives you control, right? I think that's the main key here. I have no major security concerns with how it's salted in the database passwords, but more control the better. Default start date can now be set at a ticket type level.
That's probably behaves the same way that the ticket templates use,
yes,
right? Yeah. So under ticket types, you go to a ticket type, likely on the default tab, maybe start date, default start date, right? And so then number of days after the date to log in the ticket, it'll set the start date too. So it's similar to like how the ticket templates work. Not much to talk about there. They just brought the functionality into the ticket type as well.
The idea being for everyone is you could have a ticket you create today that the start date is triggered for like a week's time. You could always say, whenever we make this, it's for a week later, like a reminder ticket or something. We make it today, and in a week, that's when it starts. And you could filter out if the start date is less than or equal to today or whatever to just display the ticket types you want. Not massively useful. I think for us, it becomes more helpful if we're doing like projects and tasks. We see that used a little bit more, but yeah, if you need it, we've now got it. What else have we got in here then? Added a setting to prevent field groups from being collapsed.
Mm-hmm.
I've not even used a field group. Oh, field group from being collapsed.
Definitely use the field group. Sure.
A field group from being collapsed.
Let me just show you the setting, and then you'll be like, "Oh, that makes sense."
Oh, field groups you can expand it from being collapsed though. Oh, okay.
Up by default, and then they said there's what they said there was a
setting to prevent it from being collapsed.
Yeah, where the heck is that? Where's that setting? It must be global. No way.
What are we saying? Ticket type level? No way.
Ticket type level?
Oh, what? You restrict all the fields from being collapsed? No way.
Where would that setting be? Must be under forms, maybe.
Probably.
Show multiple pages split by field. That's cool. That's also not for right now. Collapse. Default ticket type. No, that's not it.
Bobby's release notes. Let's go.
Where the heck would it be?
Added a setting to prevent field groups from being collapsed. Tell me it's not a general ticket setting.
It's gotta be. I think I saw it here. I think I saw it. It's either. Yeah, there we go. Disable classical field group. Why the heck would they make that global? Moving on. That's dumb.
If you never want your text to ever be able to collapse any field group of fields, there's now a setting for it. I could get it per field group, maybe. Like,
yes, per field group, you want to prevent them from collapsing that group of fields because you want the grouping is more organizing than the expanding or collapsing of the setting of the form, right? So, but this is like global for everyone. Yeah, it doesn't make any sense.
You can never collapse a field group. Yeah, brilliant. Added client-side CRM note created, updated, and deleted as notifications and runbook triggers. I'm not sure how many people use these, to be honest. I have a love-hate relationship with them. What this is talking about is at a customer or site level, there is a tab that many of you might have never seen called CRM Note. Halo's AI integration has got something fancy where it's trying to, I don't think it's great, but it is trying to do like summaries of the client here. But there was a few issues when it came out with it kind of siloed. What they're saying now is if you add a new CRM note to a client, you can the notification to the manager of the site or, whatever you need to, or it could trigger a runbook to do something else, post it. But yeah, that is kind of the idea of what that setting is. Do you leverage that field much, Mendy? Do you do much CRM notes?
Yes, I don't do personally, but we tell when we go through our onboardings, we tell clients like we want everyone to log time in Halo, and so we've got different mechanisms for how everyone can do it. If you're a technician, you're working on a ticket, your time's going to go on the ticket like through a workflow action. If you're on a meeting or in calendar, if your day's like run by a calendar, you're going to close that appointment and record time as you do it. So on the calendar directly, you can complete an appointment and capture time taken at that point. So it'll close the appointment and also put your quick time on the time sheet. And then if you're an account manager and you're recording notes, you had a call with a client that wasn't necessarily scheduled, you can go directly into the CRM notes, put your note in, how much time it took. for that call. So we do recommend using the functionality. It is fairly useful. It may not be perfect, but like really what feature is, and also it's better than not having anything. Like if you don't put it there, it's going to go somewhere, right? And because it's global for the client or site or user, it's very easy to find. The other thing that people really, really like once I show them is that under the customer, if you have top level turned on, and let's say you're split by like account manager or pod or whatever, then everyone who owns their accounts, they can just come in here and they can see global CRM notes across all clients. So it's very, very easy to see like what's going on across the board if you see that. So it's not, again, that may not be a perfect functionality, but it's pretty good, and it does track your time or allows you to track time as you do it. And they've been adding more triggers to it to make it better. Like for example, they allow you to
there now
automatically, next follow-up date, things like that. So it's definitely a useful feature. May not be, like I said, perfect, but it is something.
You can add custom fields to it as well. So if you can actually start making it a little bit custom and unique to your business, really. Again, I've been hesitant to really leverage it. There were some bugs where if you added a custom field, it would display the HTML and made it non-usable for me and stuff like that. But they're fixing these things incrementally, so I'm pretty sure that's fixed now. If not, I'm going to look a little bit silly, aren't I? But I'm pretty sure they fixed rich text. Actually, it's not a custom field. I don't think. Was it a problem? We'll soon find out. No, they fixed it. So yeah, used to display the HTML. But yeah, again, that's fixed now. So yeah, they're getting there with it. I think it's got potential, especially when you start adding custom fields. Just find out what your use case is for your business and lean on it if you need it.
You can track satisfaction levels. So every meeting you have, you can basically start building like a historical record of it, right? And then next call date, you can just jump next month or 1 week or 1 year or whatever. Apparently it's broken until I hit something. What the heck is it doing? I think the next call date was blank, and so therefore it didn't have the value already.
You can turn some fields off here as well. You don't have a abundance of control, but I can't remember where the setting is. The setting somewhere in the settings to maybe turn off some of the things in here.
If there was, it would probably be under users general settings, right?
Yes.
I don't remember seeing much here, but
you can definitely control some things.
CRM notes, just satisfaction on CRM.
Yeah, there you go. Yeah. There's a few bits. Hide default memo.
Extra data. So that's not even a custom field.
No,
that's just a default field there.
That wasn't added all that long ago, and I think the extra details field. But yeah, they're adding to it. They're expanding on it, giving you a bit of control over it, so it's nice. So yeah, if you need it, there it is. Runbook methods now support response that are only text. I sometimes read things right, and I have no idea what being just come out of my mouth. Runbook methods now support responses that are only text.
So the reason for this, I think, I don't actually know, but there were two things about this. One is like you can fire off a runbook from a chat, and then the responses from the chat can come back to it's not the runbook result, it's the API's response.
Some APIs don't respond with JSON. Okay.
As Robbie's saying.
But what does this do for us?
So it basically just receives the text response and it's okay. Like it doesn't error out if it's not.
Right. Okay. So it should. So we're basically saying we can now.
And you can reference them in a lookup.
Fine. Okay. So if you're not getting a JSON body back, you can. Fine. Okay. I get it. That shows you how much I do with automations these days and APIs, Mindy. Absolutely.
I don't think I've ever ran into a system that I'd be using I'd be getting a non-JSON response. Or if I did, I would just be like, that's stupid. What a dumb API, and then I'd move on to a different one.
I would call that a Robbie problem. That's what we call it, Renada. And he goes away and does his magic with it. Improvements to the XLS imports. What are you learning, Mendy?
Apparently you can limit how many rows you want to import at once. Not sure why you'd want to do that necessarily, but okay, you can. And then also there's going to be a validate button. There's like a validate import by clicking the validate button next to the start import button. So they've added a new button next to start to actually validate that it's going to be good. You don't like right now. I don't know. When I've been doing XLS imports, I've been just unselecting everyone and selecting just one and hitting start. And then I use that to validate.
I do the same thing. Yeah.
Okay, so now they added a validate button that you don't have to do that. Cool, I guess.
I think we're both still going to do the exact same method
Same
we did before, because who's going to test it? Who's going to risk that button? Yeah. Well,
that makes me. I have a question for you, Connor. It's completely off script.
Hit me.
If you go to reporting, and you start writing a report, and you do SQL for the report writing, and you do something like select top 10 whatever star from false.
Yeah.
Do you jump straight to preview report and preview, or do you hit the test button first?
Preview and change the date.
Change the date. I just hit.
Oh, I would always go to preview, and then, well, if I'm ever doing select star, typically I'm going preview, changing the date.
If I'm doing like a where, like
yeah.
date occurred or something like that between start date and end date, then sure, like I'll change the date too. But if I don't have a filter, then I would just leave that alone and hit load report. But a lot of people will get stuck on the test button, which is the point. And there are definitely certain things that we can try to, like, there are situations where the test button will tell you you're good and it'll still fail, right? Because it's not executing the full SQL or something like that. But the other thing is, like,
press it twice, like there's like a lag with it or something. I don't like, sometimes it will say successful, you then press test again, and then it tells you there's a problem with it.
Oh, yeah. Like, why would you even, like, this is my test. Like, why do I need...
We pretty much do that as well. I mean, Robbie's going to be foaming somewhere, because what I actually do, because I'm a heathen, is I don't do new report. I click a random report in the list and edit it and just clear the SQL. And I do that all the time for no good reason. And there's often times when I save it by mistake and just clear a report that we've had. I did it to Jacob the other day. Don't even know why. I was like,
why would you
need
not
this report?
New button?
Because I like to live life on the edge, Mendy. There's a bit of excitement in your life.
No, I feel like all of our other interactions have told me that you don't like to live life on the edge.
Well, this time I do. Maybe it's a forced way to test that our bot can write SQL, so we have to go do it again. Maybe it's a testing mechanism. It's not. I'm just a heathen. I don't know why I do it. Bobby literally will send hours on calls and he'll be like, "Why are you doing that?" I'm like, "I don't know." An idiot. Cool.
Add an option on recurring invoice schedules to invoice on a specific day of the month.
This is so important, right? Like, this is one thing that Halo's lacked for years. I invoice Connor on the 15th of every month, right?
The thing is, let's talk about the difference between the day, start date, and then the new field, which is going to be the day of the month to invoice. Like, what is the difference? Like, up until this field was like, what? Like, sure, we can do it on the 15th. Just pick the 15th, right? What's going to happen if we do that, Connor?
That's going to tell us that on that date, we can make the invoice, or if we've got automatic recurring on, it will create the invoice for it. But the invoice date, depending on what we set, right? In this case, it will be... So in this case, the invoice date will be the date we make it, right? If not, and you was to do... Well, no, I'm now... My head's now fallen off now.
The problem is because it sets the beginning of the period. That's the problem.
The start date should always be the first.
Exactly.
Of the month, or the end. Well, I think first. Yeah, sorry. It should always
be
the first of the month.
Should be the first of the month to the end of the month, because that's your period, right? If it's monthly,
this
or
will
yearly.
do 15th to the 14th
or 14th or something like that. It's going to screw you up.
Yeah.
We want to do this to be the first, essentially. And up until now, it's like, oh, we want to do like 15 days. You want to invoice on the 15th of the current month? Okay, we'll do -15 on the number of days ahead to create the schedule, and then it pushes it up, right? Doing negative days.
So that's how we use it. Yeah.
And it was 16th, like really dumb.
14th.
Yeah, exactly. So now instead of doing that, we can say set this back to 0. We can now set the date of the invoice to be 15th. And so that's going to be which day of the month. This is the period. This is the day of the month to invoice. Here's the end date if we ever want to stop it. And then we can still say we want to invoice 15 days ahead or whatever, which is now going to go back a previous month to the 31st if we wanted to do that.
I try and refrain from using that days ahead, because honestly, when I'm debugging invoices and we've got days ahead moving forward and different start date periods, my head falls off trying to understand at what period are we billing for what things. Are we ahead now? Are we doing back now? So like first of the month is, I think for me, is just, it's easy to understand and is clean and makes life much easier. If you're doing middle of the month for the period of it, I think it's difficult. Obviously, the days when you invoice, when you send to the client, that's up to you, right? But the period, I think, should be month to month just to keep things easy.
The period is we do keep month to month, beginning of the month, end of the month, or whatever, or year to year. But and we don't like if it's year to year, we start on the month, like the beginning of the month, whatever that is. We don't do it in the middle of the month because it just gets really really complicated. But we do often use days ahead to invoice because it's not uncommon for MSPs to be like, yeah, we send out invoices on the 15th for the next month, you know, or something like that. So we do generate invoices ahead of time, and then when we turn on, because our goal is to eventually get to automatic billing. So when we turn on automatic billing, 15th comes up, those invoices will generate and send out, and the date of the invoice will be the first because it'll be that for that period. So yeah, that's how we do it, and it's up to you if you want to use this or not. But if you want to set a specific day of the invoice, this is it, versus this is the period. So that's what that setting is that this is the day. That's that new setting.
Have they done something with the terms now? Can you specify the terms as well now?
Like on a line item?
No, on an invoice. Can we do like net?
Oh, payment terms. You're saying?
Yeah.
They have that for QuickBooks Online. They link you to the QBO payment terms, but I don't think beyond the due date, not really. But what we did is we built a report. Yeah. Like we built a report that does a subtraction of the due date from the current date, and then we added that report to the PDF template. And so that we have like net X days. The X is populated by the SQL query, and that we just output that as custom HTML and throw that onto the invoice. It comes out really nice.
Okay,
it just slots right in. So we have that.
If you want to visibly display, this is the point of when your due date.
Yeah, net 30 or net 15 or net whatever, then we just exactly.
As opposed to a hard fixed date, basically. Yeah.
Correct.
Well, nice. What we got next? Added the setting disable modification of milestones on tickets at the template level. So I'm assuming 835114.
We go to ticket templates, and we are using a template that is going to be a project. I'm assuming that has milestones enabled. So our ticket type has to have milestones enabled first. If I can go to project, I'm assuming. So enable milestones is on, right? So now if we go to a template and build a template for that project type,
there's going to be
now we have the milestones tab, and then we have this checkbox.
Oh, okay.
So we can make sure that people can't change the milestones on the project once it's from this template. It's locked to whatever this template has.
Guess if that was the thing you needed, then now
there it is.
Happy days. Yeah, I don't know. Stuff like this, I'm just like, who cares? Like someone somewhere needed that.
I think Robbie just has to do a better job at like picking release notes to talk about.
Yeah, well, we've got some in. I mean, he got excited by that, so he's got. We're getting cyberbullied.
Yes, Robbie, I'm complaining about the work that you've done for us that helps us do the job better.
Added an option to chat about a ticket for users on the self-service portal. I'm not even aware of this. I have no idea.
This is my feature request, I think.
What does it do?
So you do it on the ticket type. If you have, so you know how like you can launch a chat, like the users can start a chat with an agent.
Oh yeah, we turned that shit off. Yeah, we didn't touch that. Right? Yeah.
Okay, but you can do it, right? Like so, like the client can come to you and start a chat and talk to you through the portal. But what happens when the chat's done and the ticket's still open? If they want to go like reach back out to you, like how they have to now email or call, like the chat's no longer an option, right? So what this setting does is it allows you to pick any ticket, apparently, any ticket in the portal, and allow you to start a chat about that ticket. So now it's not creating a new ticket; it's on an existing ticket, and you can just start a chat from that ticket directly.
You're the only person I know who's even spent time, I think, configuring the chat in Halo.
I've had multiple clients ask about it.
Yeah,
right?
I've always
keeping in mind that it's not just, it's more the chat bot than the chat itself, right? Because like it ties into Teams, it ties into the Teams app, the Slack user chat, and so on and so forth. So Yeah.
I think one of the things that I always say is when we discuss this is, are you equipped for it? And what I really mean is do you have like
Staff will
are you
handle it.
do you have staff to handle it? Because if not,
Yeah.
so the problem with chat is you need people to be there, right? Chat doesn't work. If you start a chat and you got to wait 20 minutes, well, log a ticket, right? It's the same experience. For me, if you're getting chat, the whole allure of it is it's almost instantaneous support. If you jump on a website to track your order and you've got to sit in chat for 40 minutes, it's kind of like, well, I'd rather log a ticket at this point and wait to get a response back than checking if someone's talking to me. So yeah, a lot of the times, we're not equipped for chat, or we don't want to have the pressures of we've now rolled this chat out and we have to have someone manning it at all times to respond, else we're degrading the service of it. So yeah, I don't know. I'm just not a big advocate for live chat. Maybe I'll adopt it one day. Who knows? What are we looking at next, Mendy?
The next release note that Robbie has pasted is not on the version that we're looking at.
Oh,
I don't think, anyways.
Is it a little hidden one? Let's have a look.
821081 is not on. The options for add to project and add budget to project will no longer show on the sales order line. And no products are created for the sales order, and the option to only show products on the same sales order is being used.
So it's showing in RemiDev is 2196.1.
Oh, it's a bug fix. That's why.
Which is probably contained within,
It's in one of these. Screw that. Not doing that.
.1, Mendy.
Okay, fine. It's not really a new feature. It's a bug fix, right? So like in the sales order screen, you'd see like add to project or add budget to project options on hardware items when there was no project linked. So if there's no project and you're limited to only projects on the sales order, there's no reason to show those two buttons. You'd create the project first, and those two buttons, then those buttons appear at that point. But again, it's a bug fix, not really a feature or anything like that we would normally talk about. That's why I couldn't find it. Added option to restrict log on behalf permissions. What the heck is that?
Well, I'd feel like
user role level.
There we go.
Oh, log on behalf of. That sounds familiar. So you can actually set. So if we're looking at, like, if you have a main contact at a client, right? I think it's in the self-service portal settings, maybe.
There is allow login on behalf of users. Yeah.
Right. So you can actually allow login on behalf of other users. And you can basically decide if they want to, based off their web access level, which is basically saying if they have access to all tickets, they can log it on all tickets. Right now, we can actually change this to say determined at user role level, which is a brand new setting. And if you do that, then what's going to happen is inside the user role, we can now go to like client owner, for example, and say your logging on behalf of other users can be, at the same client, or at the same site, or something like that, the same top level or department even apparently is new. That's cool.
And if you're not using these, I would recommend start looking at user roles. I think they are, like, doing a global setting at a self-service portal level is dangerous in many ways. But for me, user roles have provided great benefits for us at Renada, actually, especially if you start thinking about approval processes and stuff like that. We have approvals now when we do tasks for clients, for instance. Whenever we take a new client on, they fill out a form which gives me all the users and what permissions they need, and then we tie it into roles, and it just it really flows really nicely, and we know exactly who to target for emailing, or if someone leaves, are they a part of the roles. It feeds really nicely into the ecosystem. These were added in last year, I think, user roles. Really, really powerful once leveraged correctly, and they sort of unlock doors, if you will, whereas once before it would be a nightmare.
One of the things you want to keep in mind when you're building these out is, like, you may, for example, your role may grant access to invoices, right? But even if you do that, if you just present the button to everyone, if you take these away and just hit save, everyone's going to see this button on the portal, right? Now, when they click on it, they may get like an access denied, but like, what's the point of showing it to them if they can't see it, if they can't get to it? And so by going here, we can actually say, we are going to restrict who can see it based off the same exact roles who would have access to the button in the first place. So beyond just having access, you're able to control who can see it. And you can do that for any of these buttons, right? You can build out custom buttons on your portal and restrict access to them based off of roles or anything else. And you get the same exact concept in, for example, if you were to go to reporting and then dashboards, You can go to a dashboard, maybe not profitability, maybe service desk or something specific for the client. And then you would basically go to the user access, and you can grant user access the same exact way using user roles, for example, and then you can choose which roles have access to that dashboard. And again, you can do that on knowledge base, you can do that on reports. So beyond just permissions that you can see in the role itself, you have access to set up additional things or entities that they can reach. So beyond just the permissions tab that you have here, you can also grant essentially like access control almost for those specific areas, like the self-service portal buttons and the reporting and dashboarding and so on and so forth.
Yeah, it's definitely getting better for that. They still need to internally fix the permissions for reports, because if you want to say just give Mendy access to this one folder, you've then got to go through every single other folder report and say Mendy can't see it, is one current problem you've got. So just be careful with access control. If you allow technicians to reports, they can see all of them by proxy as opposed to none of them. So just be careful of that. But yeah, it's definitely improving, and it's definitely nice to have a bit more granular control. Conscious we've got about 6 minutes left, Mendy.
Yeah, I have two I want to talk about.
Go on then.
Two that we want to talk about. Maybe three. Okay, so the first one is something that is really, really big. We tell clients all the time that we don't want the technician to have to make a decision beyond their day-to-day work when they're working on a ticket, right? And so when they're presented with a dropdown and that dropdown has a million options, they have to start thinking about something other than their job. Is this client billable? Is the client not billable? Like, what status am I going to go into? What should I be doing next for the process? We don't want that to happen. We want to present limited options for the technician so they don't have to think about it. They can just look and know exactly what they should be clicking. One of these things that we lean into for, or that it relates to, is going to be the buttons that are on top of a ticket, right? So if a technician opens up a ticket, we don't want them to be hit with like, oh, what do I press next? I've got like a million buttons here, right? How do I actually do anything with this? They have to start thinking about like, which button should I be pressing, or they have to be trained and they have to remember. It gets fairly complicated. One of the things that we added in, that Halo added in, from a feature request I submitted over 2 years ago, is the ability to stack these actions up. And so now if we go to configuration and we'll go to advanced settings, and we're going to go to the lookup codes all the way at the bottom, there's going to be a new lookup code called action groups over here that we can go into, and we can start building, for example, AI actions. And we can just do like robot or Android as the icon. And now what happens is, notice this ticket, we've got AI analysis, AI response, superpower, AI tech email, like all four of these things, right? We're just going to go into each of those actions real quick, and we're going to put them into the new group that we just created. So if I do like superpower and go to the edit, and we go to...
We can't see what you're doing, by the way.
Oh, wow.
There we go.
Oh, because I was in the wrong... Sorry, hold on. Let's go back here. Let's do this, right? So we have this action group that we created, and we lost... Let's go back. Configuration. Okay, hold on 1 second. There we go. Okay, tickets, actions. We'll go to superpower. You saw me build that group, right?
Yeah, we did. Yeah.
Okay, so now we can just put this into the action, right? And then we go back here, and we'll do like the AI response, right? So we'll do AI response as well. We've got like a couple of them. We're going to put them all into that AI actions. And I'm just going to do a couple just so we can see how it comes out. Right? And so now we look back over here, we should start seeing these buttons collapse basically. And if we go to AI actions, we now have a drop down of those actions. Right? So that's going to be super big. So we can start, we have another level of depth that we can do to start building out a more intuitive interface for the technician. They know, look, I want to do something AI, they can go to the AI menu. They want to do something like a contact user, they go to the contact user and they've got email or other options there. They want to do like a note, they can have public private note under the note field, right? So we have more ability to put more actions on the ticket without breaking the technician's ability to be able to think quickly and pick something immediately.
I remember the day this came out and you messaged me, and I was like, it just looks a bit crap, doesn't it? Like it just like a bit more GUI love for me. Like I want to be able to clearly tell that it's a group and look good. So like, but you can get creative with it, right? So you can add emojis to these.
Yeah, exactly.
Pick a default color to them. Like try and find a ubiquitous way across your Halo that it is very eye-catching, or you can remember that it's a group. Because if not, by default, you might not know it expands. For me, I'd want a carrot, right? So you can clearly see it expands as opposed to just having to know it's a group.
The importance is that you have a strategy across your Halo for colors, for indicators, and things like that to ensure that you're building an intuitive design. So just by looking at it, they know what it is. They use these like hints essentially throughout the interface to drive what they should be doing.
I think one of my sayings is that I say a lot is, and it's not to insult people, but don't put the profitability of your MSP in the hands of your level 1 engineers. And what that really means what I mean by that is if your engineers can very easily affect your profitability by selecting the wrong thing by chance, then we've already made a mistake, right? It should be really clear, default charge rates, minimal actions, minimal interface, real good process or workflows, so that we're not in a situation where we have to be reviewing loads of stuff because we've allowed people to make the wrong choices. So different way of saying it, but I think we're on the same mindset there is, build in a way that is easy to manage and maintain, and everyone knows exactly what to click, when to click it, and most importantly, why.
Connor, how are you doing on time? Do you have time for one more?
I've got to go learn about Halo in a minute, but other than that, I'm good.
All right.
Yeah, I do want to cover 2 more things that are super important for stable.
Well, we need to mention our thing. It would be doing disservice to Robbie if we don't mention the one that he's put about us.
All right, I'll allow 2 more. I'll allow 2 more. Let's go.
Okay. So if I was forced to pick the next most important feature that I would talk about, it's going to be the improved project loading efficiency in the ready for invoicing screen. The way project billing works right now, it is dynamic. Every time you pull up the project's invoicing screen, it will run math calculations on the back end or front end in real time to pull which tickets need to be invoiced and how much time. It is painful, slow, and really, really poor. What they've done is they've added this thing here. This is the release notes at the bottom of the page. You can come here and read it. But essentially, we'll store the project number against the actual time entry, no matter where you are in the task. So you could be like 7 or 10 or even more child tickets deep off of the project. So you can have project phase, tasks, subtasks, and so on and so forth. And it'll record the actual project number against each time entry, which does 2 things for us. Number 1 is it improves the billing performance. And number 2, it makes reporting on project time significantly easier, even if you have multiple levels deep, which a lot of us do. And we used to use that fairly heavily. I don't know how many levels you go, but we actually have clients that go pretty deep with projects.
1 level only right now. Actually, that changed in recent builds, but up until very recently, I've never grandchild a ticket.
So it's probably because of this setting. Under general settings, we want to come down here and change the project load method from calculate billing project or billable project and every load to use stored billable project, and then pressing this button, which will retroactively go back to all of your project tickets, and it will update all of your actions to that project number, which will fix that. So that's the one feature request or released feature that I want to cover is in terms of criticalness. It's the action group and then this project billing. There's a couple others, but we'll switch over to kind of the one you want to add, which is the feedback one, I'm guessing, right?
Well, the problem is I tested this the other day. I don't think it worked, but we'll try it live in yours. So we did a LinkedIn post a while ago about providing Morgan a cake, basically. And that was all because of a notification endpoint that got added or runbook trigger for feedback received. So if you get good feedback, there's now triggers for it, right? Feedback added, look. What that allowed us to do easier, rather than running SQL, was when we got feedback added, we could plant a tree. So if you go to integrations for me, please, Mendy. Runbooks. So custom integration, sorry. Yeah. And then runbooks. And then go back, please. Back a page.
Back? Oh.
Yeah.
Okay.
Click on the globe in the top right.
Ah, okay. Did you
and
release
in here, you should see Ecology, plant a tree. That is the runbook that we made. That one left there, that one there, on how to plant a tree. It got added to the repo. Is there any accreditation that we did this? If I've not even checked. Does anyone even know we made this? Does anyone even care?
I know that you did it because it's on your video.
We did. This is Robbie made this. Robbie, you need to get onto Morgan, mate. He is stolen your work here and not told anybody of your creativity. But basically what you can do is click install to Halo, and I'm fairly certain at this point it entirely craps out. I'm not going to lie. But if you look at this,
they've gotten that here it is.
The code is you plant a tree. I think if you look at all the methods and stuff, it's completely blank. But it's looking actually better. I know it's looking okay.
Yep. There's the
It's
body.
working. There we go.
Back on a recent ticket.
Robbie, I wrote the notes and didn't put any accreditation for ourselves. But the cool thing is that they're willing to put stuff in, like, this is simple for us to do, right? A little run book. But if you are making cool stuff and want to be accredited or be on this, this portal of some of the cool stuff you're doing and giving it out, this is where I find Robbie's left our API key in here somewhere, and I'm just going to get trees by the thousands planted. My credit card.
It's not it looks like there's no value.
Okay. Whew.
That's
brilliant. But yeah, so again, it's something silly, right? We're planting a tree on feedback received. But the good thing is they have a marketplace that they're willing to add stuff to. You have to be really conscious of how you build stuff, though. So we intentionally didn't add in loads of custom fields for this because it just won't come across. So if you are building cool stuff and you can use it building all Halo default fields, then away you go. They've not yet got a method for adding in custom fields, I don't think, but I believe they are working on it. So yeah, there you go. That was it. 5 minutes over. I was 5 minutes late. An hour.
I do want to point out, like, the fact that one of the things that you've brushed over right now is that you're actually driving good from customer feedback. And so now, like, in your signature marketing on your ticket that goes out to your clients, it's like, leave some feedback and we'll plant a tree, right? And then you do this in your video. You talk about it in your video. But, like, you're essentially driving your customer interaction, because if they don't, like, they're just bad humans because they're not planting trees. Like, why would you not plant a tree?
That's why my customers can't leave
nothing for you. Just
in my contract, a baby is killed if they leave. So, like, they just can't leave Renada. The contract's written in. We're doing good.
Joke for all those who are not aware of that. The baby part is a joke, but planting a tree is not a joke.
Hey, you're not a signed client, baby. But yeah.
Awesome. Well, guys, thanks again for your time today. We've got another session in 2 weeks on the 16th. We'll move on. I think you guys covered everything you wanted to in stable, so we'll move on to the world of
There
beta.
might be one or two we'll just quickly throw in there.
Yeah.
Just
and
so
are good. The SQL asset stuff. There's some really good ones that we could have done.
Robbie did it. Robbie did a good job. Yeah.
Yeah.
So, and again, if you guys got questions, not you two, but if anyone watching has questions, you can also email them in or message us directly, and we'll hit them on the call. Thanks, guys.
Thank you for having me, Mindy, Elle. Appreciate it.
Pleasure as always.
Thank you, Robbie, for your hard work. That was really good. If you could do next week, that'd be great. Thank you. Lots of